Installed with our premium roofing system. Backed by our 50-year warranty. And there's a 0% financing, no payment for 6 months options that this customer utilized. If you're looking for a new roof and you need an affordable option, call Absolute Restoration.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Well, soggy evening as we head into our Tuesday evening. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 5. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and yes, the rainy forecast continues. Not anything too significant, and not anything severe, but just that lingering moisture as we get into any of those evening plans. So as we look here in the Room to Room Weather Center, we have a lot of stuff to go over, and that is, of course, seen in our headlines. No need to water today. Those soggy conditions taking care of that. Our plants are looking good to go, so don't have to worry about that drought impacting any of our gardens or vegetables or anything of that matter. Melissa has made landfall. We'll have a look at the beast of a storm that is Hurricane Melissa and look at some of the effects, not just at 5 o'clock, but even coming up tonight at 6, because there's a lot to go over when we talk about this storm. So stay tuned for all of our Tuesday broadcasts as we talk about this slow-moving storm here in the next couple of hours. And that Halloween forecast, of course, shows cooler conditions. Been hinting at that all week long. So if you haven't had the chance to get the costumes together, go ahead and look at something that's a little bit on the warmer side, especially for those kids, because we don't want them to get sick or anything like that. 6 p.m., 50% chance of rainfall, 64 degrees, but those chances do fluctuate a little bit, but remaining right around 40 to 60% throughout the night. So overnight, expect to hear some brief heavy downpours, and that's going to highlight our morning commute as well, as those rain chances stick around 30%. But tomorrow morning, 51 degrees. A few areas could be in the upper 40s. That'll be noticeably cooler from where we are at today. So if it was bearable to get outside in shorts and a t-shirt, well, probably not going to be the case tomorrow. So we're getting a look there in Greenville. You can see some of these heavier downpours right there. This is looking southwest right into the heart of one of those heavier downpours. I mean, tough to see that the land at the bottom of the screen right there, but high in the sky is just going to be those stratus clouds blanketing our atmosphere, keeping those temperatures pretty consistent, but just giving us some much needed rainfall, making another dent on that drought monitor, which I'm so excited to see it when it comes out Thursday. Should be looking much better than where things have been. Caledonia, one of our drier locations. This is northern Lowndes County, and as you can see, not getting the blinding rainfall like out west, but this is just going to be a few light sprinkles at most. I walked outside today wanting to do some work with the drone, and whenever I was about to launch it, I started feeling a couple drops in the air, and that's really the forecast. It's not going to be anything too overwhelming. It's just going to be a drizzle here, a sprinkle there, maybe a shower on the in the grand scheme of things, but overall not going to be anything too significant. As we look at our Mississippi Live Weather Radar, still going to see those stratus clouds, that stratiform rainfall falling right over the top of us from I-55 all the way to Highway 45. The model's doing a great job at forecasting this. As we take a look at the rain showers and as they progress through the area, if we cycle this back over the last, let's see, I'll go 6 hours, because that'll take us to our morning time. I mean, it stayed west of 55 up until noon time, and once it came into that early to mid-afternoon, all these showers did progress a little bit more east into the rest of North Mississippi, and of course, all of us getting some much-needed rainfall. Not exactly high amounts of rainfall, but we are getting a couple measurable outputs here and there. Let's go ahead and look around the area. This is Greenwood, about 0.2 of an inch. Oxford, a couple hundredths of an inch. Tupelo, same thing, couple hundredths of an inch, and even down there towards Monroe County. So where are we looking? Well, east of 55 has not been exactly anything too significant. We're talking about this area right here, hundredths of an inch. And I'm just going to do hun periods. That way you can kind of get the idea. West of there, things do start to shift just a bit. And if we highlight a few of these totals, and we'll get a better look at this here in just a moment. Let me mark that off. There we go. And highlight in a few of these. Yes, we are getting a couple tenths of an inch. Well, let's go ahead and transition radar sites here real quick. So as we look at that Memphis radar site, we are seeing some heavier outputs around Clarksdale, Shelby, and Cleveland, but all through the afternoon, this has been the main focal point. And you can see west of 55, a completely different story, highlighting in a few of these totals. And of course, these are going to look different out there in northwest Mississippi because we are closer to the radar site. Beforehand, we were looking at a Monroe County, so that's why those values did differ. Well, let's go ahead and highlight a few of those. And we are seeing about a quarter of an inch, 15 hundredths of an inch, 0.2 of an inch. But then out here towards Arkansas, we're getting well over an inch, and that is moving into our forecast going forward. So if you thought the rain was over today, no, we're just getting started. And we get another several hours of that rainfall as the system works its way on through. So expanding things out and looking at our surface analysis here real quick, you can see that low really moving through the region, giving us some stronger storms back there towards East Texas and western Louisiana. Not exactly our forecast. Our forecast will continue to be the stratiform precipitation, and that's going to give us lots and lots of rainfall moving forward. Let's go ahead and get on Futurecast, and we'll see how this progressively moves to the east. But as it moves to the east, we're not exactly seeing the mature storm anymore. This low starting to become a bit occluded, and that's that purple we're seeing right there, meaning that that cold front is catching up with the warm front and those things coming together, showing usually a weakening in the system, not exactly a maturing side of things. So this is starting to wrap up just a bit, and as it does wrap up, it follows this track that starts to move a little bit more northeast and almost a northerly track as that continues to dissolve on out. But while it's doing that, it's going to remain right over the top of us and progressively move in this direction right here. So we're going to continue to get some of that wraparound moisture moving into that extended forecast. So if you look towards our Wednesday, again, kind of a dying system right here, not exactly going to be something significant for severe weather. That's usually seen in maturing systems. This is far from maturing. This is actually, if you look at it in your age, it's not a baby, it's not an adult. We're looking at the grandparents at this point. So a little bit older, a little bit on the decaying side, and it's not going to be anything too significant moving forward. And again, just not having that punch that it once had. So this system wrapping around some of that moisture as it does dissolve on out, and there we're getting a lot of that wraparound moisture well into Arkansas and that reaching into North Mississippi as a result. You can see this counterclockwise motion for sure. That's the reason why we are getting that wraparound moisture. So next 24, I'd like to say the rainfall will take a break, but unfortunately it's not doing that at all. 30% 6 a.m. continues into that 9 and noon hour. By the afternoon, rain chances start to pick up once again, 40%, but then into tomorrow night. That's where things start to shift a little bit outside of our region, and we'll be looking at a little bit of a drier forecast beyond that point. So a little something to look forward to if you are getting sick of this soggy weather, but we'll have a look at that in more detail here in the Room to Room Weather Center in the next 60. Also tracking Melissa. Melissa did make landfall. Just what did it make landfall at, and where is it at now? We'll look at the latest details on Melissa here on Mississippi Live Weather at 5 in the next 60.
Visualize perfection, freshly picked ingredients, tantalizing flavors, sweet and sour intertwine, and dance into your glass. One-of-a-kind arrangements, hitting every note. Why wait for the weekend? It's on at the grill.
Tupelo Smiles is a top-notch group. They're very compassionate about what they do. They've given me the smile that I've always wanted. I've been a patient for 15 years and I wouldn't go anywhere else. I just love Tupelo Smiles.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Here is a look at the slow-moving beast that is Hurricane Melissa, currently at Category 4 strength, which is actually a weakening trend to give you perspective of where we once sat at. This historic storm that we'll go in more detail about of why it was historic coming up tonight at 6. But I mean, this is a record, should I say record tire. Well, again, we'll look at that in just a little bit, but this storm now moving through Jamaica, that heart of the storm right over the top. But you can see that eye of the storm showing a little bit of a weakening, starting to condense in the middle, meaning that we don't have that needle point that we once had, that due to shear in the Jamaica area. But as it's moving over that warm water, yes, this slight measurement right there from Jamaica all the way to Cuba will allow for almost a re-intensification, maybe adding a few miles an hour to those wind gusts, and that again making landfall in Cuba. So I know we said pray for Jamaica, but the same thing goes for Cuba, because a Category 4 storm is nothing to just shrug about. This is definitely going to be impactful and devastating as this storm continues its northeast path. If we look at that track right here, of course watching the tropics, we can see that this Category 4 storm went right over the top of Jamaica, and those wind gusts were upwards of 185 miles an hour. insane to think about. And that's just sustained winds. Wind gusts were well over 200 miles an hour. We'll look at that in the next hour or so. But where we currently sit at that 4 o'clock advisory, 921 millibars at that pressure center, and winds 145 miles an hour. Again, this is a weakening from where it was once at, but that is still an intense storm and going to make some catastrophic damage there in the Cuba area. So if we track this out, you can see that Category 4 storm moving into the coastline of Cuba just around, I'm going to try and say it, the Bayamo area, and that's going to move through the Holguin area. I'm trying my best, but yeah, towns I do not know the name of, but that's going to be during your Wednesday morning where it makes landfall on into your Wednesday afternoon before it fully clears and moves into the Atlantic. And as we track this out just a bit more, you can see that extends well into the Atlantic, well on this northeast track away from us here in the United States. So fortunately, and again, this is where, you can thank God for this. We've been talking about God laying his hand of protection over a lot of folks, but this is where we can be thankful for our neck of the woods that this did not take a northwest path. A large reason for that is with this drier air. If we well, let's track this out here real quick and I'll go back and show you guys. So this, of course, moving northeast before, becoming more of a fish storm by this point. But Cuba, here in the next 24 hours, definitely needs to be on watch and have those prayers for them as this works its way on through. As we look at water vapor imagery, a big driver in this is, of course, we do have this front that's moving through the region. That front that we got a couple of days ago, that is pushing towards the southern end of the Gulf and then driving the storm well into the northeast. So that atmosphere, a big favor in regards to keeping us safe here in the lower 48. So if we look at our radar right now, still, pretty busy with just a soggy forecast, not exactly going to be anything, let's see if I can get it there. Not exactly going to be anything comparable to what they're getting in Jamaica, but as we look at Mississippi Live Weather Radar, this moisture circulating back through the region and some heavier outputs down around Greenwood, and especially for portions along I-55 or west of I-55, should I say, that's really been the boundary for a lot of this. And if we look at that reflectivity, again, that's going to be our heaviest portions back around Greenwood, and the Indianola region. So if we look at the last hour or so, we can see that we have had some decent outputs right over there of that general area, but building in just a bit more as it crosses or basically sticks around Highway 82 and heads closer to Winona and Duck Hill. So if you've been looking for that meaningful moisture, folks in Montgomery County going to be getting that here ever so shortly. And then same thing, Grenada, Yalobusha going to be getting those as well with some heavier outputs towards Tutwiler and Charleston. We can actually look at some of our, let me find it right here, rain rate. And if we look at the rain rate on these, go into the latest scan, we can see that those outputs showing you some greens. If we populate in a few of those totals, we're talking, who wants to do it? There we go. Just under an inch an hour. So even the heavier outputs on this is not going to be anything overly significant, but we're not complaining about that whatsoever. We need as much rainfall as we can get, and fortunately, we're getting at least a few more tenths of an inch on that extended forecast. So as we bring it back here to our analysis mode, we can kind of track those showers moving on through, but of course not a day to really get outside. This is a day to get the laundry done or clean up the house, whatever you need to get done inside the house. This is a good time for it because 50% chance of rainfall by 7, not exactly what you want to be out in, 40% by 9 and 40% there by 11. Not to mention, it's not really a warm forecast. It's still relatively cool where you can have the long sleeves and be comfortable as you walk out the door. So if you're heading to the park this evening, you're a trooper. But honestly, probably shouldn't. You probably should just stay indoors and enjoy a night inside. Good sleeping weather, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and track out Futurecast. And as you can see right here, Tuesday evening, a lot of those showers, a lot of the heavier showers out there west of 55. If we take it through those overnight hours, though, a lot of those heavier portions do build into the region, some of those darker spots. Basically, that stripe right along I-22 and Winona getting some as well, but it's still out there towards Greenwood, Greenville, and Hollandale, getting those heaviest outputs. You do see some reds. That could be upwards of an inch per hour on some of those rain rates, and that could reduce some significant moisture. All of that does move east, and so for folks down around the Golden Triangle that have been on the lighter to almost trace amounts of rainfall, that will start to build into those overnight hours as well. And getting into our 10 o'clock hours, some of those northwest sections of Mississippi towards Marianna, Arkansas, Hernando, Mississippi, and South Haven, getting some of those red returns, meaning heavier rainfall as a result. Now, we could hear a few rumbles of thunder overnight, but not overly high on severe weather threats, honestly, thunderstorm development in general. So this is just going to be that stratiform precipitation, which remains well below severe limits and exactly what we need in providing a lot of that moisture. 5 a.m. right along Highway 45 before that starts to push out a little bit more towards the east. So for folks that live along 45, have that rain gear ready. But for folks west, probably not going to need it, at least for the start of the day. Beyond that, you might still want to have it on standby. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Low temperatures, 45 in Bruce, 47 Boonville, and 49 towards Starkville, 49 Cleveland, and 47 Tunica. Now this is a completely different story from what we were tracking this morning, almost a 10-degree swing, so make sure to have those long sleeves ready. Rain or shine, it's still going to be a cool forecast. So pick up 49 degrees, and we always talk about cloud cover limiting how much our atmosphere heats up. 49 to 54, that is insane. So basically what you wake up to is going to be how you finish the day as well. 30% chance of rainfall, upping to 40% during that drop off. So if you're one of the areas not seeing rainfall for the start of the day, by the end of the day, things do start to shift and it'll be back in your area. Why is all this happening? Well, actually, I'm going to stay over here and expand things out because we can really see this occluded front right over the top of us, and that's what's driving a lot of this moisture out of the region. But there is a wraparound. With that low being so close to North Mississippi, you can see we basically get this counterclockwise motion, so it spins it around and then wraps it back around there towards Arkansas and then pushing into North Mississippi. So we're not completely out of the woods. So if we bring it back to our home view real quick, of course those showers do clear out along Highway 45, but then we get these isolated development as that moisture wraps around and some more moderate showers pushing in as we get closer to that afternoon forecast down around Clarksdale, Shelby, and West Helena, close to Tunica County. If we keep that forecast going into the afternoon, a lot of those heavier outputs do push well into the Clarksdale region, Grenada, Montgomery County, even there towards Choctaw and Webster County by 3 p.m. So you're not completely out of the woods if you don't have showers when you wake up in the morning, because some of that wraparound moisture will take place. 4 p.m. remaining right along Highway 82 there close to the Golden Triangle region. But if we look at where this system is at now, when the system starts to occlude, that is a diminishing phase and not exactly going to be a strengthening phase. So this is what's left of that moisture and will continue to remain in the area as the system wraps up its lifespan and it moves on with the rest of the atmosphere. So if we look at that into our Wednesday evening, we can see that that wraparound moisture is still trying to remain in the area, but that low will start to dissolve once we get closer into our Thursday. So high temperatures, like we mentioned, very little change from the start of the day, only seeing 55 in Tupelo, 54 Corinth, 54 in New Albany, and a 55 around Cleveland. To give you perspective, our normal 71 degrees, not where we're at, and definitely not even close to a record. So, I mean, we're going to be enjoying those cooler conditions. But tracking Futurecast out into those overnight hours, you can see that wraparound moisture starts to subside, and that low carries off there towards the northeast, taking all of that moisture with it. So Thursday morning, if you're out there towards Clarksdale and Cleveland, right along Highway 61, folks out there are going to be enjoying a much drier forecast, not to mention a much clearer forecast as well. You do see those northwest breezes pushing into the region. That's, of course, going to add to those cooler conditions and add to those drier conditions. So that's what we'll see as that atmosphere shifts in its pattern. So pushing into our 9 o'clock hour, a lot of that cloud cover does thin out just a bit and sunshine will return. Who remembers what sunshine looked like? I mean, it's been so long. So we are very grateful to get that back in the forecast. Thursday afternoon remaining mostly sunny, and that'll be the case into those mid to late afternoon timeframes as well. So if you're looking to head outside, Thursday is your day. Go ahead and plan something to enjoy it, because with how soggy things have been, we definitely need to look at the glass half full. Look forward to what's next, and this is what's next, and it's a good thing. 10 p.m. Thursday sticks with those dry conditions. Winds coming out of the west, so that'll keep those drier conditions in place as high pressure dominates our area. High temperatures already being impacted. We're talking about a sunnier forecast for Thursday, but temperatures still only getting into the upper 50s and low 60s. So this is not going to be paired with rainfall. This is going to be paired with sunshine. And the fact that temperatures are still this cool shows you that it's going to be quite the shift going forward. And we're not even talking about lows just yet. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. Forecasted rainfall, we're not talking about significant amounts, upwards of an inch possible, but that's really where we top out across the region as these light to moderate showers work their way through. So that's a good thing for the next couple of days, but fortunately by Halloween, we were talking about Thursday's forecast. Halloween's forecast stays beautiful as well. 43 around 7, that is going to be the one note with this forecast. A very cool start to the day. 54 by 12 and 62 there by 3 p.m. with beautiful skies all day long. So it's always a story on Halloween. This year, it's not going to be the rainfall. It's going to be the cool weather that we experience. But if we look at the next couple of days, Wednesday, going to be your best chance of rainfall. Thursday and Friday, 59 and 64 degrees respectively. But those lows, 45 at the start of Thursday, drop to 39 by Friday. The fact that there's a 30 in the forecast, oh my word. We are in that time of year, ladies and gentlemen. Get the sweatshirts out. Saturday looking cool as well. So if we head overnight Friday night into Saturday, that Halloween time frame, that trick-or-treating time frame, just going to get cooler the later you're out. So make sure to have those long sleeves on standby or get costumes that will keep you warm. Sunday, pretty much the same thing as Saturday. So it's going to be a good look. Potential for a few developing showers there Sunday and Monday. We're watching that behind the scenes, but model's not exactly agreeing on that. And I do see that maybe that low will stay south of our area, away from us, and that's what we're continuing to assess behind the scenes. But as of right now, that's not our concern. Let's focus on the next couple of days, and that's the rainy Wednesday and a fantastic trick-or-treating forecast. Of course, we'll talk more details about that coming up tonight at 6. We're also talking about the latest details with Hurricane Melissa. Just continues to be a devastating storm, and I do want to say that, folks, just say a prayer, because that is what folks in Jamaica need right now, and folks in Cuba will need as the storm inches closer. So we'll see you guys back here tonight at 6. Make sure to download the Mississippi Live Weather app to keep updated on what's happening in the wild weather world of Mississippi. And that'll do exactly that with the Futurecast available to walk you through that time frame of those rain showers as we head overnight and for any of those evening plans. Our next broadcast is at 6 p.m. and we're going to be talking latest on Melissa and latest on those rain chances and latest on those temperatures. And then also at 10 p.m. we'll look at some latest model outputs, walking through the latest on those rain chances once again. So thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here in about a half hour for the very latest on what to expect here in Mississippi.
When people are fed, futures are nourished. They can connect with the world around them, unlock endless possibilities, and thrive. Join the movement to end hunger. Volunteer. Advocate. Donate. Go to feedingamerica.org/actnow.